And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports One. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port here on a Monday, the Monday post-horseshoe, post-Ranger win.
There we go, baby.
Barnes and Tony once again. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great today, dude. Obviously, start of the new week, Super Bowl week, that is, too. Obviously, pumped for this weekend, too. You know, we were talking about the little trip going on, which would be pretty sweet. And, of course, you know, it is nice to recap, you know, the Rangers win during the horseshoe. That was definitely a fun episode last night. It was cool to have the game on for the first time at that bar. I've watched that game in like quite a couple months, you know?
Yeah. So it was great to do that. And I still just can't believe that we're in the situation we are with Optimum and MSG, illegal streams. I mean, it just really is a disgrace.
I mean, it just, yeah, like you said, it just doesn't really make much sense. Like, why, like, if you were the head of Optimum, wouldn't you be working like through the night to get this job done? And I mean, like, I guess I really haven't looked at like what, you know, the latest reports are on it, but I mean, are we just like nickel and diming right now? Like, what is the big, like the bugaboo here, you know?
Well, yeah, I guess it was just that MSG, you know, raised their carriage price and didn't want to budge. So Optimum said they're not going to pay it.
I mean, that's fucked up, dude. I mean, not for nothing. I mean, don't you think Optimum is, I mean, I know people who've switched coverage. They've switched their cable provider because of that, dude. So it's like, you know, a lot of unhappy people are out there and doesn't look good, dude. Especially for something like cable, which is already, I mean, not for nothing. People don't fucking even pay for cable that much anymore.
It kind of depends, though, because I feel like it is kind of like preferred in a sense just because, you know, it's obviously the most live and like the easiest to access, going back and forth, not leave this app, go to the other app. So I don't know. It just seems like we've made such this obsession with streaming and it's really just screwed everything up at the end of the day. And one thing I want to mention, I know like we're behind the 8 ball on this big time. But it is true what I was telling you before the show. The Four Nations tournament, there is no All-Star game this year. It's replacing the All-Star game as a preview for the league's return to Olympic participation in 2026.
I guess that's cool.
Is it though? But is there no skills competition either?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, not for nothing. The Four Nations tournament was something that kind of like, I don't know. I guess it didn't really hit me right. It gives me a mid-season tournament vibe, like NBA, like mid-season tournament.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's cool that NHL players are returning to the Olympics, I guess.
And
but
how
I mean,
long has it been since?
I don't know. Actually, I'm really not 100% sure about that. To be honest,
it was 18 and 22. They didn't play, so I guess it would be 14.
Yeah.
10 years.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, people have different opinions about that. You know, it is cool that they weren't allowed to play in the Olympics. In terms of just like seeing like different people, obviously, different players. And you know, obviously, you always look towards Miracle. Because that's what that was back then. They were NHL players. You know, they had to go get college kids. So just, you know, added to the, I guess, I don't know, the gravity of these guys getting a win, how much it means. Not to say that wouldn't mean to, you know, certain players. And I guess if I was a player in the NHL, I'd be like, I can't play in the Olympics. Like, that's kind of bogus, you know?
Right. And that's how it used to be for the NBA before the Dream Team.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, it's interesting. And it's not, I don't know. I mean, I guess you can really argue either way. I guess really they should be able to, right?
Yeah.
Because it is kind of messed up that they're not. But then it does get in the way of the season, I think, as well, which is probably what was the biggest reason why.
Yeah.
Because not for nothing, I mean, you can't play in the NHL. I mean, how are you going to juggle both at the same time? Like you're probably not. I don't know how they're going to really do that. I guess, but I guess. we'll see what happens. And, of course, too, in the NHL, there's plenty of international players,
Yeah,
so.
no, I don't know. I guess timing is tough. I understand that, but I don't know. I just think there's something weird about not having an All-Star game. And it's like, I don't know. It's like you could have just changed the format and still had it be the All-Star game.
Yeah, that is really weird.
And this is the first, like, there's never been such a thing, right?
No,
yeah,
not that I'm aware
and
of.
I don't know. I kind of just like, kind of slept on it a little bit. I was just like, oh, this is just some tournament. They have some break. It's annoying. Rangers would be off, this and that, and didn't really like think about it too much. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just think it would have been just nice if you kept the All-Star game, changed the format or something. It's just a weird thing, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I didn't realize too it's going to be held in Montreal and in Boston.
In Boston, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
I
would love to go see some of those games.
But at the same time, though, I sense a little sadness. No All-Star weekend. The skills kind of remember like going over the rundown last year and stuff.
Pretty sick, dude.
Yeah.
Like fastest skater, hardest shot.
Right.
Like this, I don't know. There was definitely something cool to having an All-Star like weekend game.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's going to be at UBS next year. Should we go to it?
Yeah, right.
That would be kind of crazy.
Wait, so next year they're already going to have one though?
Yeah, so it's just for the Olympics. Like that's why I'm saying it. Just I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I'm kind of curious what Tommy thinks. I know he likes like international competition. I'm sure you could say, okay, the games that are going to be played in this tournament are going to be far better than what you would see in the All-Star game. But there's just something about an All-Star weekend, and I thought hockey had done a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was definitely, we've talked about, obviously, the NFL compared to all the other All-Star weekends and the Pro Bowls. I mean, hockey still, it was a good time, even though, they did do the 3-on-3 kind of round robin tournament. It was still cool to see, the players out there celebrating, having the All-Star break, the skills, the whatnot. Right. But I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. I mean, if this is just like a 1-year thing, I guess, it is kind of weird that it is just 1 year.
Yeah, and it's like this is no league has ever done this for anything.
Yeah,
this has never happened. Other than like I guess there's no All-Star game maybe during COVID for baseball. I know definitely, but I don't know. It's just odd. Definitely odd. And then Tommy, just speaking of this, I know I'm jumping ahead and then we'll get to everyone's comments, but he says it's kind of weird that Russia got left out. That team would be stacked. Yeah, that's also another thing. Like, so you're only having certain nations in it.
I think there was mention here about Russia, but the Ukraine war, Russia was specifically excluded due to the ban imposed on it by the IIHF.
So then the 4 teams are who?
So it's going to be obviously U.S., Canada, I think it's Sweden, and then Finland.
Finland. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Finland, Sweden, Canada, U.S.
Yeah.
And I mean, the teams are pretty stacked. I mean, nonetheless.
The Hughes brothers.
Yeah, dude. Kachuk brothers as well.
Kreider.
Yeah, dude. So I mean, it's going to be cool. There's a lot of great players out there that are going to be playing, and I mean, I guess they're going to be pridefully representing their country. So yeah. Hopefully it'll be some great competition.
But we do have so many comments, honestly. Maybe a record for recently anyway. If we want to get started. Michael Butka back talking Disney, but let's start with Josh B. A little more level-headed here.
Yes, dude. Josh B. always, nice voice of reason here. Yo, fam, happy Monday, he says.
Great call last night, Josh, by the way.
Oh, yeah, great call. The buzzer beater call.
Yes.
You'll have to see that from the
Following
fans,
up Uncle Richie, too.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And then Tommy Donovan says, let's go, dude. Quickly get the 400. Sam Rosen get the belt out. That's a power play goal twice.
Yes, great night last night,
dude.
Tommy. Really enjoyed watching that game, especially because I know, Tony, I mean, I said it too. It just changed the whole vibe for the week, especially they're down. You're feeling down before the third period starts. And then they come back and win that game. That was something special.
Definitely, yeah. And then I guess Quick even probably led in terms of US born goalies anyway, but still
400 is 400.
400 is 400, the winning most ever.
Yeah.
And I think it was maybe the 15th tender just in the history of the NHL to get 400 wins. So that's a very impressive feat there. And it's cool to see him do it in a Rangers uniform. Kind of ironic, I suppose. Kev Du says, let's go. We want the smoke, dude. Bernie kick rocks, he says. We have John Pollock also in the house. The fire emojis. Best podcast
John.
on YouTube, he
Love
says.
It, John. Love it.
Let's freaking go, dude. There we go.
Pumped to have him here with us.
And then Michael Buckton says, Yo, Barnes, solo ball is a effing machine.
Yes, we'll get to that. Big upset win over Marquette, and McNeely didn't even play. But Richard waiting on Friday, so that's going to be an interesting game between the two teams. But monkey off the back for now.
Yes, and then he says it right there, too. It's beat St. John's on Friday. You know the deal, dude. And then here he goes. Luka to the Lakers. Get the F out of LA AD, dude.
Kind of crazy. That still happened. I still can't believe it. And it's interesting, though, as you talk more and more. Some people think that it's not the landslide maybe that, we were first thinking, but I still think, it just, you're giving up on a 25-year-old franchise player to get somebody who's really good, but 31. And I don't know. I feel like it doesn't leave much for the future there.
Yeah, no,
short-term thing.
It is interesting to hear some of the, ESPN analysis people talk about saying that, oh, wow, the Mavericks now with AD have all around like one of the best rosters in the West sort of deal. I guess time will tell. It is weird. It's just like a weird thing to see. And then Michael also says Super Bowl matchup sucks. Which I don't know. I disagree with that.
That's like the thing that we talk about, that people are tight, can't get over their teams not being in the Super Bowl. And it's just one of those things. Like at the end of the day, these teams are in the Super Bowl because they earned it. There's tons of talent on the field. I think that's a lot of also like leading up to the game talk, but then when the game actually starts, it's a classic. Everyone's into it. And I don't think it's gonna be any different this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I guess you can have your opinion, just like John does. He doesn't like the matchup as either, by the way.
Right. And like I said, I think it's fatigue, though. People get, but it's like I said, I mean, there's a reason why they've earned it. I mean,
for sure.
Like they just because they've been there too much, they can't go now.
It's just like, like you said, fatigue for the Chiefs, and I think a lot of people do dislike the Eagles.
It's so insane.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Eagles fans do it to themselves. I mean, Philly fans are they're a tough bunch of people for sure.
I don't know. I just think people just get a little too crazy with that stuff. Like there's certain like things like I get it to an extent. But it's like, I don't know, just the way Philly. It's like, I don't know. Like it's just like, well, let's just play the game.
Let's play the game, dude. Shout out to Saquon, by the way. I'm pretty sure he got engaged this weekend. I heard.
Wait, who got engaged?
Saquon?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
That's right, dude. So watch out.
Prenup? They got time to finalize it.
I would think so. I don't know, man. He doesn't seem like a prenup type of guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Michael Buckta says he's going to be watching Disney movies during the Super Bowl, that he watched Beauty and the Beast last night. What a goddamn classic movie that is, dude, he says. It is a classic, Michael. I'll give you that one. And then, let's see, he's talking to John Pollock. They both like Disney. Yes. Shout out to Kev Dude, Josh B. Josh B with the big Buckta there. And then Danny V also in the house. What's up, fellas? LFG, he says. Michael says, ha, 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 ha. I can't see Buckta's comments because I'm blocked.
Oh, Michael.
Come
I told
on,
you, bud. You got to let it go.
Honestly. Josh B poking the bear a little bit. Does that mean you're going to block him from the studio? Growing up is realizing not everyone is going to agree with your opinion, Buckta. This says Michael Theophil, still love you.
There we go.
And then Michael Buckta, I guess, probably doesn't see Michael's comments, I suppose, right?
Maybe.
He says Bills should have won that shit. They got robbed. F the NFL. Everyone hates the Chiefs, Barnes.
I mean, that's not true. Yeah, sure. A lot of people don't like them, but it's not everybody. And it's just like, there's just something about appreciating really good quarterback play, team play. And that's why I have no problem seeing the Chiefs in another Super Bowl.
Totally agree. And then Michael Buckta is going to be going on here. No one likes Tater Swift or Travis Kelce or SpongeBob Mahomes.
I mean, I feel like lay off Mahomes. He didn't do anything. Like, what do you want him to do? He just goes out and wins football games. I mean, we've talked about this many times.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember we did talk about how he does win with some grace.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny because I saw some videos pop up on Twitter. No. This was because I remember when this happened too. But I'm pretty sure it was when the Bills beat them in the regular season, and he was right after he shook Josh Allen's hands, like worst ref call ever, man. That's bullshit. It's a bad call. Oh, blah 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 blah. So
that was AI.
I don't think it was. I remember when that happened.
Sure.
I don't think it was.
Pretty sure.
No, come on, dude. And then Michael Buckta asks me, have you been to Hollywood Studios in Disney? I have. Great park, dude. I actually love Hollywood Studios. I think had they have Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, Toy Story World, dude. The Tower of Terror, dude.
Yeah.
No, that's a good job there. Refs for the Chiefs' best friend, says Michael Buckta. Should keep that shit to yourself, Michael. Wow, dude.
Oh my God. I tried so hard. I sent him a couple texts over the weekend to let it go, and he just won't listen. I don't know. I tried so hard.
And then
tried so hard.
Michael, dude. Thea Phil looks like Buckta won't be coming back to the studio anytime soon.
You know, and it just almost makes me sad that we've come to this point.
It is sad, dude.
Yeah.
And then Buckta says Toy Story is his favorite Disney film. He's really jumping around with the Disney films. His favorite, to be honest. Gotta pick one here. And then John in here, Jack Flaherty. Back with the Tigers.
Yeah, surprised about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
They're definitely surprised about that.
Yeah. But wow, that's a lot of comments. I think we could just keep
a whirlwind,
going, with the comments. But a lot to talk about. One thing I want to get to that we didn't get a chance to yesterday, just with the Ranger game on, that was kind of our focus. But the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, Rory McIlroy picking up his 27th career PGA Tour win, first at Pebble Beach, 21 under par, 2 shots clear of Shane Lowry. And McIlroy had quite the week, starting with the 66, 70 on Friday, but then 65, 66 over the weekend for a 2-shot win. And he wins $3.6 million. And really just, I felt like played a flawless weekend, especially, like we've talked about, the colder temperatures, the lack of sun, the high winds. He really didn't make many mistakes, and I thought it was an impressive win. And it just makes you think, like, you have a weekend like this, but can it come when a major is in the name of the tournament? That's the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's been the question for him for a while. I will say, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because he was used to playing in Europe recently. He was dealing with the high winds and the weird weather quite well. I would say, though, I mean, I know we're saying, like the major, you could, get the shakes, get the nerves, blow it. But this is, at this point, like just watching him this past weekend, I mean, some of the better golf I've seen him play recently. Dude. I mean, his like wedge work, I feel was just so sick, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like there was definitely a couple times where he's just like in the rough or in a sand trap, and it's just the perfect up, down, right near the pin, like exactly where he needs to put it, to par or eagle, whatever. Didn't see many mistakes. If there were, he had great recoveries. So, I mean, I think some showing of somewhat of a, an Iron Man mentality here. And not for nothing. I mean, the post-game interviews seemed like he had a lot of stress off his shoulders. I don't know what it is, but he seems pretty locked in. So, obviously, big congrats to him. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what'll happen. I don't know. I tend to still lean towards he'll blow it. What about you in a major? The question for me is always just when, but I kind of feel like he'll get one, but it's just so hard to say that it's going to be this year. But you see him play golf like this, and that's why he's number 3 in the world. He can compete with anybody. But it's just crazy because this is a signature event. All the top golfers are there for the most part. Xander missed this one with an injury. But Scotty being back and he's able to rise to the top. And I think it really is a mental thing, and mental hurdles are tough. But with this talent, Tony, and the fact that he's in his mid-30s, I mean, you would think he's got at least another 5 years really of his like prime. You would think he gets it done. It's just one of those things, until we see it, we're going to kind of count against it, right? Yeah, no, like I said, I think I would favor towards him kind of blowing it. That would be it would be Norman-like, but it feels like even more drastic, because Norman had to run early and Rory had to run early, but it's like that was in his early 20s. Like this has been a long time of him not winning majors. Yeah, and I mean, not for nothing. I mean, I just feel like, especially nowadays with just sports in general, I mean, the media coverage of Rory is definitely significantly more than what the Shock had to deal with. I think back then, especially Rory, the Live Tour, the divorce papers. I mean, there's so much more I feel like surrounding him. More than just the golf on the course, So, which again, I mean that makes it harder. If your problem is a mental game, having that spotlight on not just your golf game, but just you in general constantly. I mean that makes it even harder for Rory. So he's definitely facing, I think, some more hurdles. But I mean, I guess we'll see, dude. I feel like, last season it's like, oh, he could, and then it's like US Open comes out, looks good, and then just
yeah. I mean, that US Open loss, oh my God, those putts. But I mean, the US Open is just tough, and you just can't have any little slip up that's going to cost you. And it took a legendary shot from Bryson, of course, but still unbelievable just thinking back to that. But nevertheless, I think it's a good start to Rory's golf season. And he said, the one time I don't watch golf, McElroy wins. So I guess John's a big golf fan.
Yeah.
But not to worry though. We'll have next week we're gonna have or I guess starting on Thursday, the Waste Management Phoenix Open. So that's always a treat.
That's fun.
And that's always great to watch in the lead up to the Super Bowl on Sunday. They get it done early over there.
Aren't you like pumped to go golf? Like,
oh yeah, no, it's gonna be the best, honestly, to get back out there. It feels like it's been years. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh my God, yeah, dude. Especially here at Uncle Richie yesterday. Just go for course.
Oh my God, the Chianti, going on the cruise. Yeah, we'll do something. I think go Key or something. Living the life, that's for sure. But if you look at the rest of the leaderboard here, Shane Lowry with a great tournament as well. The Irishman.
Oh yeah.
He's from Ireland, right?
Ireland, yeah. That's where he's golfing on behalf of, at least.
Yeah. But why does it say? But I thought Rory was Irish. But doesn't he have the English sign?
Isn't that like no? That's like the Irish.
Oh,
Republic?
Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Oh, Northern Ireland.
That's what it is. Okay. Anyway, Lowry, the former major champion, 19 under par.
Gotta be careful with that. They're
66,
pretty serious.
70, 65, 68. So 2 shots back of Rory. He had a great week. Lucas Glover and Justin Rose, 2 40-plus-year-old grizzled vets here, finishing a tie for third. Rose, going into the 18th hole, was actually 16 under par and hit one of the more impressive shots I've ever seen. It looked like a hybrid off the green for eagle, and this is like well on the fringe. One of the more impressive shots that I've seen, and I think we have it right here, Tony.
We do. Let's get a little live look here, dude. This is pretty.
That's got to be a hybrid, by the way. Too, right? Hybrid or 5-wood, but I think hybrid.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, dude. Like just looking at this image here. I mean, let's watch.
Interesting club choice. Tracking nicely. Goodness gracious!
Oh, Nance!
Goodness gracious!
Short game masterclass here on 18.
Ian Baker Finch getting riled. Yeah, it was a tie for second, but I guess Lowry birdied 18 there. But that's why I just think, at Justin Rose's age, like, I don't know. It's just like it would not be crazy to see him win a major. I mean, he had a great week. You take away the eagle there, 65 to start the tournament, 69, 68, 68. So, like I said, playing in these tough, cold conditions, I think that's pretty impressive for somebody that people would consider their age past his prime. Tied for 5th, Russell Henley, one of the more underrated golfers on tour, 17 under, 64, 69, 71, 67. Cam Davis, 17 under par, 65, 68, 69, 69. And what was one of those tough things that it almost reminded me, obviously it was only one shot, but of like the Players Championship when I forgot what golfer it was a couple years ago, but hit like 4 in the water. Tom Kim with a bogey on 18, yanking the tee shot left into the water. I don't know if you saw that, but he was, I think, tied for second at that time before that shot. So kind of put a little damper on things. Obviously, still gets a top 10 finish here at 7, a tie for 7, 69, 65, 68, 70. And he was tied with Sepp Straka, who shot 65, 65, 70, 72. And then to round out the top 10, you had a 3-way tie for 9th, Tony. Billy Horschel, 9. Scotty Scheffler, Taylor Pendrith. So, Scotty performing well here in his first test back from the hand injury, the wine, the ravioli, whatever it was, 67, 70, 69, 67.
Yeah. Be careful,
and I think it's not going to be long till we're recapping a tournament with him as the winner. He looks like he's, back to where he was last season already.
Yeah, no, I guess so. I don't know, man. I feel like seeing him, he seemed a little frustrated. Maybe it was the hand. He was just like kind of probably dealing with it, and I kind of tightened himself. But he seemed like he was just generally a little upset. I don't know, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's almost like Hurley in a way, and not to get Michael Buck out of his seat, but when you have a year like Scotty did last year, I think it was 4 signature events, if I'm not mistaken, that he won. And then obviously winning the Masters, winning the Players. Your expectations every tournament you're expecting to win.
I know.
But you have to look at it, kind of from a distance. A top 10 at a signature event. You had a good week.
Yeah, and it's tough too because I mean, you watch the broadcast every time they cut to him. They show highlights of last year,
right?
Like, and then the. And so it's just like, again, like you said, you're looking at that media coverage, you're seeing that, you're hearing about it. Everyone's asking about it. Oh, how do you follow up this year like last year? How are you gonna follow this one up? Like it's something that does put extra pressure on you. So I mean, but that's what happens when you're a champion, dude. You gotta rise up.
Yeah. And also, I was somewhat close, not really, but for Bruiser there with Jason Day. Gets a tie for 13th at 12 under. So had a solid week. Obviously, so much talent in this field, tough to win, but I think that's a good performance for Day. And, we've seen him kind of have a resurgence the last couple of years. Wouldn't be surprised if we get more of that as this season progresses. Morikawa was tied for 17th. Bahatia tied for 22nd here as well. Victor Hovland, who shot 65 on Thursday, but was in the 70s the rest of the tournament, ends up finishing tied for 22nd at 10 under. Let's see. I mean, that's really most of the notables here. Hideki finished tied for 48, 7 under for JT as well. Ricky Fowler, 6 under. And you had Ludwig and Max Grayson withdraw. Ludwig with that opening 77.
Not good.
And then the last player to finish in the field, Brennan Todd plus 10, an 80 on Saturday, doing him in. Wyndham Clark, the defending champ, plus 2 in his title defense. So I think it was, definitely an exciting tournament for sure. And I think yesterday, just aesthetically, I mean, things looked pretty good. It was still cold, but I was surprised to see a lot of the golfers wearing short sleeves.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking a little bit about it yesterday. I mean, I don't know. I guess, I don't know, maybe the turn, they're like, all right, getting kind of warming up, whatever. But it was nice, especially after last week, we were talking about it too, not really getting the best out of the weather. And I guess, as the months go by, it'll only get better. So even though Puxatawny Chuck over there saw his shadow, so we'll have more winter.
Do you believe in that or no? And also, is the correlation real? I don't know if there's been like a Mythbusters on it.
I think, I mean, listen, I feel like every year people have this conversation, and I feel like that more often than not, he is correct.
Okay.
Which is why people still kind of look into it. But me personally, not really. I also don't really know the history of it, to be honest. I would imagine, though, since it's Pennsylvania, it probably goes back to like the Quaker days, right?
Yeah.
Like who the fuck knows? But it is kind of absurd when you really think about it, that this groundhog is like, this is the come on.
Yeah, it seems a little prehistoric, Tony.
Yes,
to say the least.
Yes, dude, for sure.
But the good news is, next week we're gonna get better weather in Phoenix. And I was just looking at the weather actually on my weather app here. So you got, starting Thursday, high of 75, Friday 73, Saturday 73, Sunday 71, fully sun for the first 3 days of this tournament. So a lot warmer. I know last year it was pretty cold. I remember Shane Lowry getting interviewed and everyone's like, oh, isn't this like nothing for you since like you grew up in Ireland? He's like, no, it's cold, man. Like, I know I'm not imitating the accent right, but you get the picture, Tony, okay? But I always like the Phoenix Open, definitely one of my favorite tournaments. Obviously, a little soft spot having played there a couple of times. And the good news is we're also, even though this isn't a signature event, we get Scotty Scheffler, Hideki Matsuyama, Wyndham Clark. That's from the top 10. If you look further down the list, top 20, you got JT, Sepp Straka, Robert McIntyre, Sahith Theegala, and Billy Horschel. Also further down the list, Sungjae Im, Tom Kim, Ashke Bahatia, Brian Harmon, Lucas Glover, JT Poston, Jordan Spieth. So definitely some talent in this field. Matthew Fitzpatrick as well. Minwoo Lee, Chris Kirk. So really looking forward to watching this. And, we'll take a look at it on Wednesday. But another good PGA Tour tournament in the books.
Yes, sir.
But if we could go now to the world of Major League Baseball.
What a play! Drop it. Yep. And Alonso cracks one of the Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Drill deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
All right. So as we inch closer and closer to the start of the Major League Baseball season, some news over the weekend, not the news Tony was hoping for. Still no resolution with Pete Alonso, and I guess Boomer Esiason was getting chirped because he was, kind of like almost guaranteeing, I guess, that there would be a resolution, this weekend. But not to say that one maybe not around the corner. I know people have also mentioned, the Angels in addition to the Blue Jays as possibilities. I know it feels like we're having the same conversation all the time with this, Tony, but I mean, anything different that you're hearing last couple of days?
No, not much. And I said it last week. I think we're going to be in spring training when we hear about a deal.
Which is just so crazy.
It is really crazy, dude. And I start to really question now. I know. Boris has a ton of clients and stuff like that. And he does get big contracts, but this is gonna be another, off season where we're seeing a big name just not being signed somewhere because they just can't come to an agreement with a team. When there is clear interest too in him.
Yeah.
There's interest for the Mets to have him return. I'm sure Toronto. You mentioned the Angels too. These teams are interested in Pete Alonso. It just seems that they can't come to an agreement, and I would not be surprised. Like I said, spring training, he's not signed. So. I know Boomer may be on, maybe it's around the corner. I don't think so. I just don't.
This is Damon.
We
should have asked him. And there are a couple more comments here. I just see if you want to get to those. I think it started with Mr. Butka. He wants to go golfing?
Take me golfing.
Only if we can't talk about Hurley. Just focus on the game.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, change your attitude a little bit. And you're coming at Michael a lot.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
Our
dude.
brother.
Exactly, dude. Our brother in arms.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And he wants pars and birdies and beers afterwards. I would love to get some birdies, dude.
Yes.
Birdies and beers would be great. And then he says the Lakers are going to be fine without AD. Don't you think there is a little bit of a hole there, though?
You got Jackson Hayes and Rui Hachimura. Maybe they try to package them to get something, but might be a little weak in the front court, obviously big in the back court.
Nelson, speaking of big in the back court, baby, he says, good morning. What's up, Nelson? Glad you can join us here. John Pollock back at it. Says, Blue Jays are making more progress on re-signing Vlad. That I could see happening. If I was Toronto, I would certainly be pursuing that. Especially, Vlad is how old?
He's your franchise.
25?
He's 25. Yeah. I think, like I said, I think he gets done, and I think they're in an advantage that he grew up in Canada, so he's not, against living there. He just wants the big mega deal, and I think they have no choice there because otherwise, you could see this franchise kind of going in shambles without a clear vision, a clear guy to build around.
Oh yeah, dude. And then Michael Buckta does say, "Have you been, Brian, in terms of Phoenix, Arizona?"
Well, I guess I don't know. He says, when is the Phoenix Open, which is starting Thursday, Michael.
Right. Yeah.
I have been to the course. I have not been to the tournament, played the course a couple times. It was great. And then he's also talking about Maxi Kleber, whatever, helping. But I feel like he's more of like a shooter. I just feel like you need like a presence and almost, what I feel like they need? Obviously now he's too past his prime, but like an Andre Drummond type down low to just gobble up rebounds, block shots, putbacks, tip slams. I think that would really help their team a lot. Jackson Hayes is fine, but we're talking about in terms of winning a title. Yes, I would want to go to the Phoenix Open. Definitely have that on my bucket list.
I'd love to go too.
But Flaherty, 2 years, $35 million, seemed far under market value, Tony.
Yes.
Topped out after this year.
No, yeah, definitely. And it's interesting too. I guess obviously good for Detroit. That's pretty huge. But like you said, does seem far. Do they know something we don't know? Like, why the undervalue, you think?
Well, I guess it's because he's basically going to opt out, and he is going to make $25 million. So I guess it's a little less undervalued than you think. It's not 17.5 each year, $25 million, and then the second year would be 10 guaranteed, but can be worth 20 if he starts at least 15 games. So basically, I mean, unless there's some big injury here, it would be like 2 years, 45. But still, it feels like there was more out there, but maybe there wasn't. People are concerned about the medicals. That's why the Yankees didn't trade for him last year.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, not for nothing. I mean, he's gonna be a great pitcher.
Yeah,
for sure. Like,
and I think he wanted to be in Detroit though, because even though he won the World Series with the Dodgers, I think he has a very close relationship with Tarek Skubal.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Well, good morning to your mother, by the way.
Yes, my mother, who must still be in AC. They must be leaving. They're probably leaving today.
Have you heard? Was there any like jackpot win or anything?
No. I mean, last I heard
at dinner,
Angeline's, which
maybe
I'm sure
night,
was lovely.
Late night noodle bar.
Oh, maybe. I mean, you never know. You know, the mood can strike him, and then it's right there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What do you think about Alonso and Vlad be scary? I mean, I feel like just because you don't want a vision of that, you're not thinking it's too scary.
No
win, she says, by the way, which a casino, that's a surprise.
Yeah, wow, who'd have thought, dude? I mean, it would be scary. I mean, that's a lot of power
scary
right
for
there.
The Mets?
Well, scary for anybody, and yes, it would be scary for the Mets, I suppose.
Do you feel like it leaves a big void, honestly? Alonso, if he leaves, they're going to the spot today. There you go.
Oh wow, going to the spot today. That sounds great. And yeah, I do think it leaves a big void.
Middle of the lineup, power hitter. It is someone that teams need to navigate. Homegrown guy, locker room, even just for the fans in general. I mean, it's going to leave a little bit of a hole. And I mean, not for nothing. I mean, it's 30 home runs you do have to make up for. Mm-hmm.
And it's just obviously the addition of Soto, huge. But then it feels like without Alonso, it's almost like you're not taking a step back, but
you're not taking a step forward.
As big of a leap forward as you would want,
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. It's tough for me to sit here and to I mean, I don't like you're gonna have to rely on Marte to step up or something, and
which
it's just
might not be the best idea.
Or Nimmo would have a better year, which you would anticipate Nimmo would have a better year. But again, I mean, it's a lot to make up, So, I guess, like I said, I would prefer to have him at the right price. And I'm still confident he'll be a Met. I really am. I think at the end of the day, he's going to end up signing with the Mets. Yes, it's going to be arduous process, no doubt. But
and you think it ends up being like a 3-year with an opt-out after one?
Yeah,
seems like it would make sense for everybody.
Yeah, it does, and especially at this point, I mean, it just seems like the Mets aren't going to get a deal that they really love, and neither is Alonso. It seems so. I mean, they're going to have to find some type of middle ground, and I think that sounds about right.
And then what is John saying?
John says depends on if the Blue Jays pitching staff gets it together. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, I feel like their pitching staff last couple of seasons were underwhelming to say the least. I don't even know who their their full rotation is.
I was just looking that up. So I guess
Chris
projecting Gausman, Bassett, Barrios, Bowden, Francis, and then Yariel Rodriguez as a 5-starter. So not great. I mean, Gausman is good. Bassett had a bad year last year. Barrios had a good year. So there's some potential, but it does feel like, they're kind of, missing at least one pitcher, maybe two there.
Yeah, definitely.
Bowden Francis could take a step forward. Did he have, what was it, like a perfect game through 8 2/3 last year and then blew it?
Oh, was it that much?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, geez, good for him. But yeah, I mean, again, those guys could step up. I mean,
yeah,
Gausman was someone I feel like who could be, pretty threatening at some point. Even Chris Bassett has gone through good stretches too. But like John's saying, they just need to kind of pull it together for the length of the season. And I guess we'll see. Was Flaherty hurt last year at all? I just had his numbers up. I want to. Here we go. Well, I guess he had 28 starts, so he.
I mean, that's not necessarily a full season, but he also got traded.
Yeah. 18 with Detroit, 10 with LA. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense, I suppose.
It seems like he missed a couple starts.
I feel like when he was in LA, he definitely. I think he was like kind of teetering IR or whatever. But I guess still boasted solid numbers over the course of the year. 3.17 ERA.
Yeah,
162 innings pitched. That sounds about right. 194 strikeouts. Good strikeout rate.
Yeah, but I guess the medicals are the concerns. But if he's healthy this year, I mean, that is a steal and a half, and then you'll bet your bottom dollar he's going to opt out.
That's right.
But I don't know. Just with the Tigers, though, I feel like they're solid, but I think he doesn't, as I do my XL cord kick out. It seemed it seems like he doesn't want to go there, but I know they had offered Bregman a big deal, but that would be something that I think would help the team. And even though, like I said, I'm not necessarily high on Bregman, I just felt like that team all last year, the Tigers just needed more offense,
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm trying to think of like what Matt Vierling, I think, right, had okay. Parker Meadows.
But I mean, we're searching for it.
We are.
I mean, there's not
Trey Sweeney. It's tough, dude. It is. It is tough. I know Kerry Carpenter went on a tear, DH role. He was on a
Gleyber Torres will probably back cleanup.
Yeah, honestly. So, like you said, I mean, there's definitely some work that needs to be done. I think that they will, though. I think they're still trying to pursue Bregman, though, right?
Yeah, but I like I said, I think it's like almost like Alonso. He wants to go back to Houston.
You think
but
Houston's
going to budge? Well, they traded what's the former closer's name? Presley.
Presley.
To get rid of some salary to clear him, but it just the Boris budge. I mean, that's where we're at with that one too.
Yeah, crazy, dude. It really is wild. Boris controls a lot of people here. Let's see.
But it says 11 hours ago, Buster only. After signing Jack Flaherty and augmenting their rotation, the Tigers are one of the teams pursuing Alex Bregman. Ben Verlander an hour ago. Today's a great day for the Detroit Tigers to sign Alex Bregman.
There you go.
And then the King Source says, it feels like the third baseman, Alex Bregman's sweepstakes are down to the Cubs and the Tigers. The industry believes the Cubs are the favorite, which is interesting, pairing Bregman with his former teammate, Kyle Tucker.
Kyle Tucker.
Yeah. So, I mean, that definitely, would make the team, a lot stronger.
Definitely, dude. John Pollock, by the way, says Pete Alonso, Detroit, ?
I mean, I haven't heard anything about that.
I haven't heard anything about that either.
And don't they have Spencer Torkelson? But
yes,
I guess he struggled, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like he did struggle, but I mean, do they want to fork over the dough for Alonso? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like Bregman would be more of a fit with his former manager. Colt Keith, I guess, also they have listed at first base, and I know Torkelson, only hit 219 last year.
Yeah, John said too. Struggles.
Third season. But it's interesting. I mean, they had the run. Obviously, the pitching, the bullpen were great. So that's central too. I was looking at the odds yesterday. I mean, it's wide open between those four teams: Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, and Minnesota.
Yeah, pretty wild actually. It's gonna be nice and competitive over there.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. And who knows? Maybe we'll get multiple playoff teams again. I mean, to get 3 last year was nuts.
Wild.
Yeah,
you're right, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's really all the baseball news. I did see R.I.P. former Commissioner Faye Vincent dying at 86. I think he was the one. I was just seeing this, or no, maybe that was the other commissioner. I thought he was involved with the road suspension, but I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think so either.
And it was only for 3 years, which is odd. Commissioners usually have
long tenures.
Yeah, and I guess he resigned under pressure from owners in '92.
That's
and he unexpectedly became the commissioner after Bartlett Giamatti, who was the one who gave the road suspension. Anything of note here from Mr. Butker, or a little more of a ramble?
Yeah, no, nothing really.
The studio.
I mean, he just says
Disney.
LeBron dropped triple double against the Knicks Saturday night at MSG. He owns the Knicks at MSG. He says, which he's not wrong. And then watch out, dude. This is gonna get you going. Dodgers gonna repeat as champs.
Yeah, that's an attempt.
Here we go.
See, the thing is,
here we go.
Michael,
Bang.
That was a test. But I told you, I'm well versed with this stuff. With the Kev chirps over the year, does nothing. And I mean, you're supposed to be a Yankee fan, so I don't know why you're saying that. Speaking of the Yankees too, I just also seen this article. Vincent was the one who issued a lifetime ban to owner George Steinbrenner because he had paid a known gambler $40,000 to find dirt on then outfielder Dave Winfield. but
Yeah,
I guess it was only ended up being like a year.
it's weird.
And then he had also given a lifetime ban to Steve Howe for repeated drug offense, but then a year later, it was resumed. So a couple lifetime bans that didn't stick. But obviously, hey, I mean, anytime you're a commissioner of a sport, you've definitely, accomplished something. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, very cool, dude.
And then it's interesting. I did see on here too, after last year, the big noise was, 1 year after a 12-year, 13-year deal, Bogarts was moved to second. I guess he's back at shortstop for the Padres. And Jake Cronenworth, who was the first baseman last year, is going to move to short.
He's all right.
And I guess this is an effort to fill the void by Ha-Sung Kim signing with the Rays.
I mean, I guess that's cool. I don't know. I mean, I'm not Jake Cronenworth. I think could kind of kick rocks, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like he's been hanging around there. He had like one good year a while ago, but then that was it.
Yeah, no, literally. Let's see, what year was that, dude? Maybe 2020, I guess.
What were the numbers then?
Oh, actually, not too much home. I guess really 2021, batted at 266, 21 home runs, 71 RBIs. I guess he does get some runs batted in there. 2022, he had 88 RBIs, but the average fell like 30 points, 239, and it's been declining basically since then. So I don't know, dude. And I guess really his rookie season, he finished second in the rookie of the year race, batted 285. Big contact guy, only 4 home runs, but 20 ribbies. And not even a full season, I suppose. But still, I mean, it's just not, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Come on,
dude. But yeah, so obviously we're excited about baseball, and we will keep a mindful eye out for it, Tony. But if we could go now to the world of the National Hockey League.
Speed, here he comes. McDavid shoots, top shelf, he scores! Captain with the overtime winner! That's the middle break. It's a world-class hit right here. Tomsky stepping, rink wide! Made the full split save!
Are you kidding me?
Turn, side of the net, between the legs, and they score! Filthy! David Pasternak, the silver trophy to the Golden Knights!
All right. So we promised Tommy some more hockey talk than the 3 minutes at the top of DNR this morning. And we get that. And I know John Pollock also riled for the Red Wings after they had their win last night over Vancouver. And we were watching, obviously, the entirety of the Ranger game against Vegas last night at the Horseshoe. But kind of recapping it, great night, quick 400 wins, and a comeback win. 3 goals in the third. We haven't seen that much recently, Tony. I mean, what were some of the things you liked out there?
I mean, I guess obviously, there has been an uptick in I think just energy. A lot of people are contributing that to JT. Hearing more about some further analysis of his play. I mean, he does have the. I don't want to say he has like that. I don't really care what you think of me attitude.
I'm just gonna go ball.
I'm just gonna go out on the ice, and I also am not gonna be afraid to be like, yo, I don't care what you think of me, but you're not doing what you should be doing right now. Like, you got to be better on the ice. And I guess him and Trocheck, have that rapport.
What was it? Junior hockey together?
Yeah, I think something like that. I don't know, man. I mean, that sounds good. I mean, that's, this attitude you want. And I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll just see how this unfolds. I mean, it seems like people are happier than I am about the JT trade. It's just, I don't know if I'm just thinking about when he was in the Rangers and the fact that the Rangers did let him go. I'm sticking on that too much.
Because it's not about what he did then or what they did then. It's about what they're doing
now, which, huge win against Vegas. You needed that, like you said, Brian, saving the weekend. But I want to see more. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I like this trade. I want to see more than that. Maybe down the stretch, it's going to be great with Miller and having that ability, his ability to score and to command a locker room. But I still, even the Vancouver situation just doesn't sit well with me. Why he wasn't happy there,
Right. Could have been more of Pettersson's fault, though. Who knows?
It could have been, but I don't know, man. I would like to think, though, that if JT wasn't the problem, he'd still be on the roster for Vancouver, right? Like,
unless they just valued Pettersson more.
I guess. I mean, they are paying him way more. I think Pedersen's getting like 11.5 or something like that per year, or 11
and he's
or something like that.
so I think
he's
that's
younger.
something to do with
He's
it.
got what was that 5 years on him. So, it's interesting. I guess maybe at that point they just didn't jive well or whatever. But I mean, you watch some of those post game interviews that JT had with the Canucks, and it's like reporters bring that up. Like, what's your rapport like? There's a lot of reports coming from the that the locker room. There's a split, a fissure between you two guys, and he obviously is deny. Oh, I'll bring him out right now. We'll do this interview together. We're totally fine. Whatever. I don't know. I feel like when players have to say that, when sometimes these rumors, like, I know that they're rumors, I guess.
Smoke fire.
Yeah, dude. Right. I mean, not for nothing. If you have to talk about it, it probably is at some point.
Yeah.
And I would, I mean, maybe the Rangers locker room, because they've been having some trouble, will be accepting of JT's attitude. But I would hate to see him come in here and cause more problems between players.
Wait, you really are expecting that?
No, I'm not, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think the Rangers, even before the Miller trade, the good stretch run they went on, what, it was 9 points in 10 games or whatever it was that was them banding together, them getting gritty, them understanding that they were not playing well, that they needed to change. So I would think with that attitude that they've already had, that Miller would be accepted well. And we said 3 points in 2 games is great in terms of production. Definitely looking forward to what JT also can do, moving forward for sure. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like a good attitude. Seems like it could be a good fit. So I don't know. I'm going to sit here right now and I'm going to be positive about the Rangers, like I typically am, I guess. But we talked about it yesterday too. I mean, we want, you got to, tighten it up defensively. And if, honestly, not for nothing, if, Miller comes in with that, tenacity, he could spark something. And we don't see, Panarin lazily going back to the, down the ice to try and back check, or, like having those, maybe we'll have better forwards playing better defense sort of deal. And that'll fix some of the problem, not, putting, the weight of their woes on just, bad defensemen. It's forwards that weren't back checking was a huge problem too. So, we'll see. I like to think that it is going to be a positive reaction so far from the Rangers. And I think maybe that this win could be something that, does catapult them into some positivity and into some more wins. Not for nothing, it was a comeback win. Jack Eichel was someone who was dominant on the ice.
First 2 periods, a goal each.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and that's, he was doing what he does best. And I mean, even just watching that game, there was plenty of shifts Vegas had where even you, Brian, I don't got a good feeling about this,
Right.
So for the Rangers to turn around and to take what little opportunity they had, like taking advantage of those power plays, which is great. I mean, I feel like we saw some lack of power play goals out of the Rangers this year. So I mean, let's freaking go, dude. Let's build upon this win. Hopefully, I'd like to hope that the locker room is feeling good after that one. You got today off. Do you have tomorrow off too? As well. You're back on Wednesday, so you got a couple days here. Not for nothing, too. I mean, I think that bodes well. It was a few days ago that JT was, in Dallas playing for Vancouver. He had a quick turnaround. Mm-hmm. So I think a couple days off, get some more practice time with the boys. I think we can see the Rangers come out firing on Wednesday, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Have to beat Boston. And right now, after the results last night, 5 points behind both the 1 and 2 wild cards in Detroit and Columbus. Who would have thought they would be there over Tampa, Boston, and the Rangers?
Crazy.
That's for sure. But and then you also look at the score sheet last night. Laffy, who's been quiet recently after a decent start, had his 14th. Mika's 10th. K'Andre Miller his 4th. And I know you were talking about you still can't wait to get him out of town. You think that happens?
Yeah, I do think it happens.
Package type of deal.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be. And I mean, if you're going to make a push to acquire somebody else, which I would imagine Chris Drury is feeling pressure to still do, and not for nothing. I mean, so far, Will Borgen, JT, for what it's worth, they've been working out, dude. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I like to see that, some of the moves that Drury has made so far are good. But I think he still feels like he has to make another move. And I think getting another defender, another, true defenseman, I think would be great. And I think Miller is someone who should be on the chopping block. I mean, just looking at the box score from Sunday. I mean, Will Borgen, Adam Fox, Ryan Lindgren, Miller, Schneider, Vakanainen. I mean, obviously, it just seems like Miller would be the one who'd be on the chopping block.
Yeah.
I know there were reports about maybe Ryan Lindgren being looked at, but I don't know. I mean, I think Lindgren brings a lot to the table in terms of physicality and just intensity. So I like that. Not to say Miller isn't intense at times, but Miller makes a lot of mistakes defensively. I mean, yes, this is the upside of him is, sometimes he does know when to come down to play some offense, and he has a great shot. He has a hard shot for sure. I mean, maybe you're worried about, you got to get, again, you trade for a true defenseman who can give you 23 minutes a night. That'll fill the void that Miller takes up in terms of ice time. And I don't know. I'd rather see him go than anyone else.
What do you think about Tommy saying Vakanainen's been solid?
No, I agree with that. I think Vakanainen has been solid, and another acquisition. I think that's bode well. And not for nothing. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Tommy's totally right. So I'm here for that. I think he's someone who will continue to, contribute positively. Again, someone who I think. Not as much as Will Borgen, but you watch him play and he's winning those little battles. He's making smart defensive plays. Someone who I think you can look at and say, you see him skating in terms of, maybe on a breakaway, whatever the case may be. He plays the body more often than the puck, which is nice to see. We've talked about it. A lot of, I think the Rangers, lack of defense is coming from them just going for stick checks and stuff like that. Vakanainen here is someone who kind of steps up a little bit, I think.
And Tommy also says Zach Jones and Jimmy Vesey are always in trade rumors.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, Jones, I'm pretty sure Jones is the one. Zach Jones, Tommy has been pretty high on. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, he just obviously doesn't get a ton of ice time, doesn't get a ton of looks here. So why not? He's an asset you can trade away. Same thing with Jimmy Vesey, and you said it last week, Brian. I mean, it seems Jimmy Vesey does seem like he thinks that maybe some of his time and talent is being wasted, but through lack of ice time. But
you're saying what talent?
Exactly. I mean, not for nothing. You had an opportunity last night.
Yeah.
And I don't even think he had a shot on goal last night.
I forgot he played.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. Maybe he had one shot on goal. None. He had no shots on goal.
And, unrelated, but we do have some breaking news.
Oh, yeah, dude?
Per Ian Rappaport, the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year and Brown star Myles Garrett has requested a trade, releasing an exclusive statement saying, as a kid dreaming of the NFL, I focused on the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl, and the goal fuels me today more than ever. My love for the community of Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Cleveland Browns has made this one of the toughest decisions of my life. These past 8 years have shaped me into the man that I am today. While I've loved calling this city my home, my desire to win and compete on the biggest stages won't allow me to be complacent. The goal was never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It's always been to compete to win a Super Bowl. With that in mind, I've requested to be traded from the Cleveland Browns, signed Myles Garrett, number 95.
Where's he going?
Good question. I think it just who's got the cap space, the capital.
Jets.
That would be great. But
that would be sick.
I don't know if we have the draft picks to trade for him.
Yeah, I mean that's a missed opportunity, I guess. If you don't, but if you don't, you don't. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Dallas.
Bills could really use him, honestly.
Bills could definitely use him. I mean, a lot of teams could. I mean, he's a phenomenal addition on defense. I mean, ridiculous. Was it 2 years ago he led the league in sacks?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll pull up the player page. I mean, the track record for Myles Garrett is impeccable.
Yeah.
Only 29 years old still, too, by the way.
There we go, dude. So it should be interesting to see what happens. But I mean, I guess if you're Cleveland, I mean, they need so much help everywhere. I mean, that's probably got to be a mutually good thing, right?
What do you think about Tommy saying he's probably going to go to the Dodgers?
That's pretty funny.
How about this, though? So he was a rookie in 2017, only played 11 games. Since then, he's played at least 14 games every season and has had at least 10 sacks in all those seasons. In the last 5 seasons, he's had at least 12. The last 4, at least 14, 16, 16, 14, 14.
Oh, my God, dude.
Clearly a complete animal, Tony. And listen, he would look great on the Jets' defensive line, but I don't know. Like, would it be worth trading a top 10 draft pick? And then you still have to give an extension, probably. I mean, he's great, but it's like, I just feel like draft pick wise, because it would be more than that draft pick, I'm sure.
It would be, yeah.
I feel like we're not in a situation to give up all these picks.
No, the Jets are not. But yeah, I guess you're probably right, I guess.
Yeah. But I think the Bills, honestly, that's what I would say. I think that would be my recommendation. Bills or Washington.
Wow, Washington would be great too.
Yeah, I mean,
could
instantly
see him
becoming the leader of that defense. You would think Bobby Wagner's about to retire.
I feel like if he goes there, maybe Bobby Wagner sticks around for another year, even.
Could.
Which would be huge. I mean, Wagner, although he is 33,
probably even older, honestly.
I mean,
he had
still,
a lot of tackles last year.
He's still fucking killing it there, dude. So he's someone who's also an animal. So there you go, dude. I mean, I think that would be a good fit.
Let's see. So
Bobby?
Wagner
35.
is 34, about to be 35 though.
Okay.
So, but
he's got it.
Let's see, 75 solo tackles, but he had combined 132 tackles after having 183 last year for Seattle.
Jesus.
And for his career, he has 1,838 combined tackles. So that's a lot.
Yeah, guys all over the place.
But just kind of running down the scores from yesterday. Big surprise in Buffalo. The Sabres score 3 in the first period. Don't look back. End up winning 4-3 over the Devils here. So Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, 21 of 24 in net, good enough to get the job done. Dallin with 2 assists and Tage Thompson with a goal and 2 assists. But feels like the Devils, like I think we were talking about this last night, have been overall solid season, but just had that hot start and have kind of like been, just hovering since then. But I think obviously the key will be getting Markstrom back to full health.
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely will. I mean, we talked a lot about their woes being at the goaltending role. And I still think, listen, the Sabres are a team that has such it just seems like so much untapped potential because of whatever, I don't know if it's poor coaching or what, but they have a lot of youthful talent there. So I don't know. I mean, I think their roster is better than what their record is. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't blame the Devils necessarily for losing this one, I suppose, but the Devils at 29 and 19, I mean, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. The Avs are 31-21-2 after a 2-0 shutout win at home against the Flyers. Blackwood pitching the shutout. And then also you had Gerard with a goal in this one for the Avs, as well as Nathan McKinnon picking up his 20th of the year. And it's interesting with them. I mean, I think it'll take a little time to adjust having Nikas instead of Rantanen. But I think, as always, I don't think anything's changed. I know the goalie situation has been a little spotty. Maybe that's something that comes back to bite at some point. But I still think they're a really tough outcome playoff time.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's defense with them. I mean, obviously, Blackwood only having to face 24 shots, making it, easy for him to get the shutout. And then, I mean, not for nothing, Gerard with a goal there in the second too. You're turning some defense literally into offense. So, I mean, they're, you can sit here and say maybe goaltending could be an issue come playoff time, but I mean, their defense is really so great, not to mention how, hard or how great their offense is in general too. So it's tough, dude. I mean, to say that they have a weakness, you kind of got to grit your teeth a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Tommy, I guess, said there was a nasty hit on Tage Thompson. I don't know if you...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got hurt last night.
Oh, really? Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure he left the game. Tage Thompson... Let's see if he left the game. Exits win after elbow to the face, dudes. Maybe I can pull this up on the Twitterverse.
Wonder if it went toe to toe with that Jackson hit we saw in the NBA last night, huh?
Oh,
that
dude,
blood on the court?
That was bad. Yeah. Come on, man. How is it not? All right, here we go. Maybe this is it right here. I don't know if this is it. No, I don't think this is it.
That was probably his goal, right?
Scoring. Yeah, no. You'd think it would be up on top of the world here, latest. No, let's go to media. Gets New Jersey. No. Come on, guys. What the fudge? Tage Thompson, elbow. Hit. Or hit. Yeah, whatever. This has got to be it. Devils.
Aggressive play, and it got the job done by
Yep. Okay, cool. Here we go. We got it. Found it. Oh, he's down on the ground pretty hard right now. All right, let's pull it up here. Let's show the folks what we got going on. All right, cool. So I guess I haven't seen the hit, so this is his first time for everyone here. Let's go. There he is, kind of right in the. Oh,
wow.
Shit!
Is that suspension?
I mean, it depends. I mean, if you see the elbow kind of flare out, yes. It may just be one of the. If not, I would say it's relatively clean, and I think people kind of know it. I mean, Tage Thompson is one of those plays where you kind of lose the puck, and he just kind of leaned forward.
Yeah.
Almost with his head out there.
Just bad timing.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. Yeah, see, he's kind of. I don't know, dude.
Borderline.
Borderline is right, dude. The elbow kind of comes in a little bit there, and it's. Ooh. That's the angle you want to see. I don't know, man. It just may be what. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's. I mean, obviously, we're watching it in such a slow motion. Let's see, where's that other angle?
It's weird, but yeah, he just kind of.
So like right there. Look, I mean, listen, that right here. Devils, I don't know if this is Nosian. I don't know. But I mean, his arms are tucked, his elbows are tucked.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's clean. That's what you're supposed to do. And he's hunched over. He's not high.
He's not in the right position.
Exactly. Thompson's just reaching for a puck that he probably shouldn't be. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's just. You could argue momentum takes his elbow forward, but I mean, it's tough. Maybe that's Tatar. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But I would think if there is going to be some type of hearing or whatever about that hit, I don't think there's going to be a suspension or anything. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's tough to tell, but I don't think there should be, dude. I don't think there should be.
We'll see. And then we did see the Ducks beat the Canadiens, so all of a sudden it seemed like they're struggling a little bit. 3-2. This was a 2-2 game going into the third period. And the Ducks, get the go ahead goal here by Alex Killorn, his 11th. And then you had former Ranger Frankfurt Toronto had his 16th, McTavish with his 13th. So the Ducks 22, 24, and 6. Canadiens go to 24, 23, and 5. So one of those teams in the wild card hunt. So that was a positive result for the Rangers to see the Canadiens go down. So the Ducks hanging around and probably hoping to show the organization enough where they will possibly add some players come the trade deadline in early March. We talked about this last night, but the Panthers end up coming back on the Islanders. They were down 3-2 late in the second, but end up outscoring them 4-1 to finish the game. And like you said, Hattie Boombatti. And how about this? Carter Verhaeghe, not only the hat trick, but an assist. And then you had Barkov have 3 assists himself. Sam Reinhart with a goal and an assist. So Panthers have started to pick it up a little bit here. And this snapped a 7-game winning streak for the Islanders. Yeah,
I mean, obviously, tough to see that win streak go down if you're an Islanders fan. But I mean, not for nothing, you're on the road against Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough opponent. You just were riled into the fact that you led and there was only a couple minutes left in the second. It was kind of Ranger-esque when we've seen him do that type of stuff recently. Obviously, luckily, it didn't happen last night.
Yeah. But yeah, for the Islanders, I mean, that's been their MO too, is just kind of blowing it. We've talked about it so much, but I mean, I think it's maybe good to get that loss off of your back, reset a little bit. I'm not sure what their schedule is looking like upcoming. But a lot of their guys have been pretty hot right now. So there we go, dude.
And then the Rangers get some more help last night. The Stars beating the Blue Jackets 5-3. And the Blue Jackets' huge loss here. Kirill Marchenko hit by a puck, suffering a broken jaw. So you'd imagine he'd be out for some time there. This was a 3-3 game, and the Stars end up scoring 2 unanswered in the third to win this one 5-3, improving to 34-17-1 on the season. Blue Jackets still 26-20-7 on the year. I mean, the Stars, once again, we saw them have a really good regular season last year, have followed it up this year. And who knows? Could be one of the sleeper teams in the NHL. And Casey DeSmith even got the start for this one. The former Penguins back up 27 of 30 in net. You were saying broken jaw. You don't think it's going to be much time?
I don't know. I don't think so.
That's gotta hurt though. No?
Oh yeah, for sure. But we've seen players, come in with the jaw thing, the stabilizer.
So you're thinking only a couple games?
Yeah, especially right now. I mean, not for nothing. I know Blue Jackets have been a team that
they're in that first wild card spot.
And in terms of expectations on the year, they've definitely far surpassed that. But now is not a time you want to be sitting out. And not for nothing, like I said, we've seen hockey players before play with broken jaws. So I would expect to see him on the ice soon.
We saw the Blues win 2-1 over Utah. And Jordan Kyrou had a goal and an assist. Bennington with a nice performance here, 24 of 25 in net. Blues, another one of those teams hanging around 24 and 25 on the season. And Utah 21, 22 and 9. So that's a lot of overtime losses. And that Kyrou was the eventual game winner there, his 22nd. But I don't know. It kind of seems like both teams probably on the outside looking in. I mean, maybe I would think the Blues are looking to reload here, but maybe Utah, because it's been a while since they've been in the playoffs, might try to make some moves around the deadline.
Utah?
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely going to need it.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see. I don't know. I think that they're still trying to figure out what name they're going to be called.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's going to be the Woolly Mammoths. Who knows, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess they tried to do Yeti.
And they had the lawsuit.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Philip Hedl scoring for the Canucks, but wasn't enough.
Nope.
Of his Alex DeBrincat in overtime, the game winner for the Red Wings. And they win 3-2. So that's a team, that we're competing with here. And that was his second goal of the game. Red Wings had just been red hot. We know John's riled. I mean, this is one of the more impressive runs we've seen, and he says big win.
Yeah, it definitely was, dude. And you love the goaltender too, Alex Lyon. I think he's he stepped up hugely. Even when they ended up losing Ville Husso, I believe, right? So I mean, I think since then he stepped up huge and found a nice role, and it just seems like everyone is gelling there. Alex DeBrincat being a big part of it. But you want to see Hedl's goal? Yeah, I haven't seen it actually, but I just know it's
gonna be a soft spot for you a little bit.
I think it is, dude. Let's take a look here. Big goal too. It says it's unassisted, dude. So I think this is him right at the bottom of your screen. So it's what's going on here. Oh no, maybe not, dude. Up there. Yeah, this is wow. I mean, I guess that is pretty good. He seems pretty pumped, dude.
Yeah.
There he is, dude. I mean, I guess that is pretty nice. Kind of broken play, kind of going into the offensive zone. They're going to give me a replay here. That's so annoying, dude. I hate when they do that. Let's see, maybe this. Oh no, it's just a straight goal. That's fine. I mean, it's skillful. He's got the dangles. We know that.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Right over the blocker side.
Impact for a Vancouver team. They had been struggling with some team chemistry. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then last game of the night, we saw Calgary 3-2 over Seattle. 3 in the first, and then just give up 1 in the second and the third. So good enough. Huber Dow also scoring for Calgary. He's up to 20 on the season, so he's kind of rebounded this year. Sharon Govich at his 10th on a power play. Huber was a power play. Frost at his 12th, and then to Tony's dismay, Kako with his 9th, and to Nev also had his 9th as well. But I've seen the numbers. Kako kind of had that hot start until this goal. He hadn't really done anything like the last 10 games or so. But I know it's still a sore spot, but I think we needed Borgen, honestly.
Yeah, no, we did need Borgen. It's just tough. You got the 2 kids out there scoring for other teams right now.
Yeah. And then John just kind of saying in general, watch out for the Detroit teams. Obviously, so we saw the Lions dominate the NFL all season, come short in the playoffs. Detroit, that run to the ALDS last year. The Pistons, still working their way back here. And then the Red Wings making some type of run. So we'll have to see what happens. And as we always say, though, and maybe this is why people don't like Bettman, the quirks of the schedule. A single game tonight, Tony, in Nashville. Nashville minus 120 on the money line, despite being 8 games under 500. Ottawa 8 over. The Vegas trap. I mean, kind of ridiculous, right?
Yeah, dude. What the hell is that about, huh? I mean, I'm trying to see maybe like injuries or what. But
Nobody that I've heard of that's injured.
No, not really. So I don't know, man. I mean, and it's not even. I mean, the Predators. I guess 4-game losing streak. Senators here are 4-game win streaks. Maybe that's what it is right now. It's about just who's hot right now. But that doesn't really make any sense.
No.
The bounce back. I don't know.
I mean, but the pressure's on. That's for sure. But let's find out what happens, Tony, in a bonanza, a frozen frenzy on a Monday. 1 single game.
All right, let's go, dude. The one game, you said it here. The line is kind of janky. Predators minus 120. Ottawa here even. Over under is 5.5. If you want to go by the last time these two teams faced each other right after Christmas, the Senators beat the Predators 3-1. Obviously, that would have been the under then. But I said it, like the Ottawa Senators, coming into a little bit of their own, 28-20-4 here. The 4-game win streak just shut out Minnesota, beating Washington in OT as well. So these are good teams they're beating. Linus Ullmark is playing like he was again on the Bruins last year. 3 shutouts in the year, 12-7-2, 915 save percentage. One of the bright spots you could say about Ottawa here. And then Nashville, I mean, I don't know. They've been, obviously very underwhelming. We've seen Forsberg heat up. We've seen Stamkos heat up. But it's not a lot, which is why they're 18-26-7, Brian. Here, a lot of pressure you mentioned on you. Nashville team you struggle to pick with. What do you got?
Falling for the trap again. No way. Like, Nashville sucks, and I know Ullmark's still hurt, but Forsberg has done a nice job filling in at times. At least, he's under 3 with the goals against. Save percentage can be a little better.
Is Ullmark still hurt?
Yes, he is. So I'm going to say here, Ottawa's going to win this game 4-2. Brady Tkachuk with the hat trick. We need one on a single game night in the National Hockey League. Tkachuk with the hat trick. Forsberg, I'm going to say 37 of 39 here. Senators win 4-2. Ottawa and the over. Maybe he'll be coming back. I guess we'll have to look on Twitter about that one.
Yeah, I know. He was activated this weekend, I believe, off of the IR. So I don't know if they're going to plan on having him come back now. I would imagine he is, but I don't know. Regardless, though, I'm here with Brian. I'll fall into the trap. Josh B, I don't think it's a trap, dude. Sprinkle some. The only game here you can watch, the ESPN Plus, dude, at a market. Give me the Senators beating the Predators. I can see maybe, I guess, Predators score 2, Senators score 3 in regulation. Give me Stutzel in the third period here. He makes it 3-2, an unassisted goal right after a penalty kill. Why not? Senators win 3-2. Ottawa and the under, Brian.
And just like that is your Hockey Monday Frozen Frenzy. One game just like that, Tony. But I believe tomorrow is going to be back to a bonanza, right?
Oh, yeah. I think there's probably like 14 games tomorrow, dude.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, though.
Right? Like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Let's see. 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14.
14. And then John Pollock says, F Philly, give me the Red Wings versus the Rangers in the playoffs.
Wow.
That would be interesting. That would really, really be interesting.
Definitely, dude. Historical teams here. The deal.
But
Yzerman, dude.
Yzerman.
Pavel Datsuk.
Dominic Hasek. But one thing I'm excited about here is we're going to do a Panini Prism pull. And this is brought to you by the Hirsch Law Firm. And we're doing MLB cards today. Did the football on Friday, Tony. We've had a lot of prospects, a lot of legends. So what will we get today? I cannot contain my excitement here.
How many cards do we have in this pack? 6?
I think these are 4.
4?
Or is it 5? It probably is 5.
All right, that's fine. We can deal with that, dude.
1, 2, 3. It's 5.
It's 5.
and we get started here. It looks like there's a couple legends in this one. But how about now? I'm curious actually if you know this guy. Nickname Louisiana Lightning.
No.
Really? I feel like everybody else watching is like, are you kidding?
Really?
The former Yankee legend, and I believe he had the single-season strikeout record before Garrett Cole eclipsed it 3 years ago. Ron Guidry.
Oh, nice, dude. That's a nice card.
And during his Cy Young winning campaign, the Bronx Ace went 25-3 with 9 shutouts, which is pretty ridiculous. And he won both of his playoff starts as the Pinstripe Crew, repeated as World Series champs. So Louisiana Lightning, good way to start here. And we continue the legends here as we get the Hall of Famer, former shortstop for the Cincinnati Reds, Barry Larkin. So this is a good card to get. And you look at his career, hit 295 and had 2340 hits. So a legend he is indeed in Barry Larkin. Speaking of Reds, and how about a current one? You're going to be robbed for this one. One of the most electric players in the game, Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah,
so this
dude.
Is a card
there we go.
You could see the shine, the glistening from here, Tony. So we are riled about that one. And then from the rival Boston Red Sox, number 7, Matsaka Yoshida.
Nice, dude. That's a good one.
So he's been a little up and down,
but
has
back
had
of the
some
card.
solid years. Back of the card, pretty crazy,
there
Tony.
We go, dude.
And we're gonna finish out with yet another legend. And it looks like I just want to see on here. It must have been the New York Giants he played for back in the day. Over 500 career home runs. Mel Ott.
Wow, dude.
So number 117, the legend, Mel Ott. So that's your 5-pack. That's your Panini Prism Pool. And of course, brought to you by the Hirsch Law Firm. So hey, listen. I mean, these are interesting cards.
Oh yeah, dude.
But I like it. It's definitely a variation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I like how they have a lot of legends in here, man.
Yeah,
like a lot of older guys retired, not playing anymore, but nonetheless, it is cool. And the cards are definitely prettier to look at, I think, than the football ones so far.
Yeah. More shine, that's for sure.
Shine.
And then just
shine box.
A couple things that I wanted to. What did he say?
Red Sox.
Yes, exactly. I couldn't agree more there. Yeah. Just kind of mention it, and we know we're very UConn themed here for college basketball. Didn't get to talk about it last night at the Horseshoe, but UConn with a massive upset win over number 9 Marquette in Milwaukee, 77-69. Again, they led by 13 at the half. They end up winning by 8, and they're led by Solo Ball, somebody that I think me and Michael have mentioned. And Mark was even texting before the game on Saturday. He's one of the more underrated players in the country. He goes for 25 points, 11 rebounds, and was 7 of 9 from 3-point range. So that consistency from 3-point range is huge. Caravan throwing back the shots, after going 1 of 14 in the previous game. 4 of 8, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals and blocks. So doing what he needs to do. Samson Johnson with 13 points. Jalen Stewart, 9 points, 5 rebounds. Just a huge win for UConn as they move to 16-6, 8-3. In conference, in a big game on the horizon against St. John's on Friday, and Michael Butka had mentioned that earlier in the show. But just a must-needed win, and you want to talk about really getting the season back on track. St. John's, one of the hottest teams in America, Tony. We'll see. They're probably going to move up in the rankings. So will UConn after being 25 here.
Oh, yeah.
But right now they're 15th, 19-3. And almost blew like a 19-point lead against Providence, ended up winning by 2 on Saturday. But they've just been on quite the run. This game will be at Gamble Pavilion, 8 o'clock on Friday. You can only imagine how electric the atmosphere will be for that one.
Yeah, dude.
This is a big turning point in the season, and Hurley is going to have the boys jacked up.
Hurley is going to be jacked up, dude. I mean, I think we caught a little bit of the Marquette game at the bar this weekend. And I mean, not for nothing, dude. They cut to him during the timeout in the huddle, and he is just
the blood
veins
pressure,
are popping out of his forehead,
in
dude.
the face.
So yeah, he's definitely to be having the boys riled.
And I was just surprised too that they were able to do this without Liam McNeely. I thought that was pretty impressive. So so it'll be Friday against St. John's, and then they're at Creighton, at Seton Hall, and then home for Villanova before they go to MSG. The game I'll be at. Against the Johnnies on the 23rd. So
Nice.
Exciting stuff on the horizon for sure. And then I also did see, a light night in terms of sports, especially for the NHL tonight. So if there's something, else you might be interested in, Tony, how about this? Iowa State hosting Kansas. Iowa State number 3, 17-4, or Kansas is hosting Iowa State. Kansas 15-6. So this is a big game, 3 versus 11 here.
Okay.
So, some Big 12 action. I'm just saying, things could get pretty crazy. Kansas needing this win. Losers a 2 out of 3 loss to Baylor in Waco by 11 over the weekend. And Iowa State, has lost their last 2 games after winning 17 of their first 19 of the year. So a big game for both teams. You look at Kansas, they're led by Hunter Dickinson, the senior center, 16.4 points per game, 9.7 rebounds. So you expect him to play a big role in this one. And then on the other side for Iowa State, they are led by Curtis Jones, the senior guard, 6'4", 17.9 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 2.3 assists. So this should be a good one, and this is going to be a 9 o'clock on ESPN. And John Pollock, says go Iowa State. So see, Tony, there are some college basketball fans out there.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure there are, dude. I mean, they're putting it on TV.
You were lauding Fairfield U, the glass arena, the cameras, right? I mean, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, dude. I worked a little Fairfield U basketball over the weekend against Iona, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, it was a fun experience. They put on a pretty solid show, the boys over there at Fairfield U. So it is a beautiful arena. I forget what it's called, dude. The dude's name is something Mahoney, maybe? Mahoney?
That does sound familiar.
Sounds kind of familiar. I'm not sure what his correlation is in terms of, is he someone who's special? Did he play? I don't know. Is he just a donor? I don't know. But the arena there, which I want to say is maybe they're in their 6th season of it, I think.
Okay.
Of that new arena, it is, it's pretty top notch. I don't think it's really lost its any luster over the few years, especially when, across town you're seeing Sacred Heart built upon their campus. Fairfield U definitely did it right with that one, dude. It's a nice arena. Definitely a lot of people were there too. Obviously families of the players. They have a great in-house production, so it's a beautiful arena. If you're ever in the area, catch some college hoops there. It's cool.
And I think that's
and they serve
key.
Beer.
A lot of these teams go to like off-campus arenas, but I think if you could stick on campus, it really adds to the overall vibe.
Especially for something like Fairfield too, because I feel like they don't have many, they don't have football, so right. They take their other sports seriously, basketball, hockey, so it's cool.
Yeah. So it was I guess Yafet Mundi, 25-20. Did you notice that at all, Tony? Was he dominating?
Oh, there was a women's game.
Oh, you went to a women's
game? I didn't go. I worked the women's game.
So this was, but
it's Iona.
Oh, but they lost. Okay, the men's team though lost to Iona at Iona. So that's
they were
interesting.
On the road. Yeah.
Okay, and Iona, who's 9-13 right now. No, that's interesting stuff here.
Yes.
Dickinson used to play with Michigan, and then transferred to Kansas. The portal, everybody's all over the place at this point, right?
Yeah, I think the whole portal thing is pretty ridiculous. And Nick Saban spoke about the portal, pretty publicly a couple of years ago, and he's a huge advocate for not having the transfer portal. Which is pretty interesting because I would imagine, like, as a coach for a school like Alabama, I would imagine there's a ton of players who want to go to Alabama in the portal.
But also leave if they're not playing. So it kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah, I guess so. I suppose that is. But still, I mean, that's something that, obviously, I guess, that is another aspect. But still, I mean, those bigger schools obviously are, I've seen, players out of Sacred Heart end up, doing really well, lead the team, points, even in basketball, and then they transfer to somewhere like Tennessee where they don't play. So it is, it's kind of interesting to see, I guess, both sides of the coin. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really see the way the direction anyway that college sports is going in. I don't think they're going to really change much about that.
And I think it hurts the smaller schools because you have somebody who like dominates at like an Iona or a Fairfield, and they got one more year of eligibility. Why wouldn't they want to go to a bigger program, maybe have an opportunity to go to the next level? So that's the one thing. And speaking of college and people leaving, one thing also I wanted to mention, Pete Carroll rounding out his staff with the Raiders, Chip Kelly, just won a national championship as the offensive coordinator for Ohio State, is back in the NFL. The former Eagles and San Francisco 49ers head coach is going to be the Raiders offensive coordinator. So, I mean, I think that's a good move for the Raiders. Kelly, has been questionable at head coach at times, especially in the NFL, but as an offensive coordinator, obviously seeing what Ohio State just did in winning the championship, I think he's an offensive innovator, and I think that's a great move. And it almost makes me feel like they're going to definitely draft a quarterback and maybe move up for Shador, because it just seems like bringing him in, you really want there to be that offensive focus, offensive innovation. It seemed like it would make sense to reset with a younger quarterback.
Yeah, no, it definitely would. But I don't know, I guess we'll see. I don't have, what they do,
and then Matthew says, "Let's go, boys." Anthony, that's a beautiful forest green button down you have there. Should the Jets trade for Myles Garrett?
I would say,
Depends what the package.
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, they're not in a position to be giving a lot of draft picks out, so it's
or players.
So I don't know, dude. I mean, there's a lot. I don't know. They got so much going on. They got to fix.
I think, like we said, makes sense for the Bills.
Yeah,
or the Commanders.
Yeah. Commanders, I think, would be great, and I feel like that would be not for nothing. If I'm Myles Garrett, I probably would rather go to Washington. I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're in a good spot.
Either way, yeah.
But what you're just saying, because like the curse of the Bills, kind of, I mean, that's basically what you're alluding to. Though,
basically, yeah. I think that the stock, I feel like in terms of longevity, is there for the Commanders.
Yeah,
yeah.
Michael, all I would say is from the bottom of our heart here at DTV, we all love you, bud, and I think you just need to relax. That's it. That's all I would say, right, Tony?
Yeah.
I mean, just sum it up.
I'd echo that.
And then other than that, we have another edition of Down the Rabbit
Hole, dude.
Vincent Scott all jacked up.
Yes,
right?
absolutely, dude. So just definitely stick around 5 o'clock for that. I will be back in the saddle producing the show.
There you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one, as they all are, of course, dude. So stick around for that.
And then two more here on the way out. John Pollock says Jets should draft Jackson Dart, which I've mentioned before. That would be great. And then Matthew, continuing the sentiment, just relax, Michael. And I think that's a very good way to sum things up. But I have to say, a great Monday show, great Monday after the horseshoe.
Oh, yeah. Dog.
Really appreciate everybody who tuned in and continues to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee, and Jay and Costume, the merch at downtimetv.com. Want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games, enjoy Down the Rabbit Hole, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.